Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, and thank you for joining us again. I'm Daniel Cook, your host, Monday through Saturday at 6 p.m. for our daily English news edition. Today's Economic Commission was marked with debate over the government's agreement with the International Financial Corporation, which is intended to improve the climate of doing business in Albania. The Democratic MP Ridvan Bode declared that spending $1.7 million to improve the business climate is absurd. He claims that this can be done entirely without cost. You are deceiving yourselves if you think that this project will solve the problems and the way of doing business in Albania, he said. The economy of the country has serious problems. The government is using repressive methods and an aggressive attitude against businesses. The annual increase of taxes is not having a positive impact on the financial stability of the country, said Mr. Bode. On the other side of the issue, the Socialist MP Anastas Angeli said that the agreement is necessary in order to create positive standards for the economy and for the business sector. Mr. Angeli feels that the country needs international assistance since it is drawing near to the EU negotiations. The total cost of the assistance provided by the IFC will amount to $1.7 million. And through this agreement, the corporation will offer assistance in strengthening the private sector in Albania with focus on trade, investments, the business environment, and competition, with a special focus on the agricultural business. The government has significantly increased its transportation expenses according to data from the portal Open Spending Albania. The data shows that the Prime Minister's staff has spent more on fuel, vehicle maintenance, and car insurance in the last 9 months of this year, or in the first 9 months of this year, than they did in the entire year of 2014. According to the statistics in 2014, the Council of Ministers spent 10.2 million lek for fuel, 3.3 million for vehicle maintenance, and 2.1 million for insurance. For these three expenses, the total in 2014 was 15.6 million lek. The Prime Minister's staff had already surpassed this amount for this year by the month of September. The data shows that for the first 9 months of this year, they spent 14.7 million lek on fuel, 1.6 million on car insurance, and 1.1 million on vehicle maintenance. In total, these three expenses amounted to 17.4 million lek, or 1.8 million more than the entire expenditure in 2014. Fuel is the expense that represents the highest level of increase. The Democratic Party made more accusations today against the Interior Minister Samir Tahiri and Prime Minister Edi Rama, this time accusing them of involvement in drug trafficking. In a media statement, the head of the Democratic Security Department referred to an article published in a well-known Italian newspaper. She said, "The Italian newspaper, the most important newspaper in Europe, wrote that our Interior Minister is accused of connection to the most dangerous drug gangs in the country. The most serious newspaper in Italy and Europe published the shocking truth that the mafia rules Albania through its connections in the government, and that they remove any officers who dare to speak against them. Albania is in the worst criminal situation in 25 years because crime has seized the state and is ruling the country. But this situation makes our Prime Minister proud. Rama is the most corrupted Prime Minister in the Balkans, and he cooperates with these drug gangs. The citizens are not safe, and there is only one way to fix this: the removal of Minister Tahiri and his defender, Edi Rama, who refused to take a drug test." These were the accusations of the head of the Security Department in the Democratic Party. The Law Commission postponed the approval of the Labor Code amendments today because of the opposition's objection to the article that would remove the right of employees to return to work in cases in which the court rules that they were dismissed without reason. The Democratic MP Edward Halimi declared that this was an unacceptable article and that the ruling of the court cannot be avoided. Present at the Commission today, the Vice Minister of Social Welfare, Gentiana Sulaj, defended the amendments, claiming that they were recommended by the International Labor Organization. Neither the Socialists nor the Democrats were convinced by this, and so they asked for time to become more familiar with the amendments, thus postponing the approval of the Labor Code. The new Labor Code will no longer allow annual vacation time to be replaced with financial compensation, and will obligate employers to give a break for each 6 hours of work. In addition, both parents will be allowed to take maternity leave, and the new labor code will allow work contracts to be changed through a written request, avoiding judicial proceedings for employers. The Commission removed the article that would have allowed employers to enforce mandatory overtime. Shortly after the confirmation from Ilir Mehta that the majority and the opposition have nearly reached an agreement on decriminalization, the Socialist Party also confirmed this news. There have been positive indicators of an agreement between the Democratic and Socialist parties. And today, the Minister for Parliamentarian Relations, Ermonela Felaj, seemed to confirm this. She indicated that while the parties are often divided over almost every subject, they do not seem so in this case. She did, however, say that the Democrats should withdraw from their request about drug testing. When asked about the issue, Minister Felaj made the following statement. The Democratic Party should give up their request. They should understand that this request would make the law ridiculous and would make implementing the law impossible. The EP reporter for Albania, Knut Fleckenstein, also spoke about the issue of drug testing in an interview for Ora News. He said that if Albania were to do this, it would be the only country to make candidates take a drug test before running for office. The Albanian Ombudsman Igli Totazani recommended today that the institution he leads should be the first to undergo a lustration process. He made the following statement today. A few days ago, we sent 2 recommendations on lustration to the Parliament, the Prime Minister, and the Minister of Justice. The first one is related to our desire to start the lustration process with the institution of the Ombudsman. We have asked to be the first to undergo this process in order to set a good example, he said. Mr. Totazani proposed a number of specific legal changes that the Ombudsman must make in order to actually apply the lustration law. Specifically, he proposed legal changes that affect the appointment and dismissal of directors. He suggests that the lustration process should be done alongside the decriminalization and the justice reform. The municipality of Tirana will be giving a higher priority to bicycles, buses, and pedestrians. The project has already begun in the entrance of the city, and the work was inspected today by Mayor Erion Valiaj. He made this comment. I am glad that for the first time, the municipality of Tirana is setting a new standard for the main road in the entrance of the city. There will be a special lane designated for bicycles and a 4-meter lane designated for buses. People who use bicycles and buses will be able to get to their destinations more quickly. Every new road in Tirana will have these standards, sidewalks for pedestrians and special lanes for bicycles and buses, declared Mayor Valiaj. The preparations have begun for the 15th International Opera Festival, the Maria Kraja Festival, which will be held on October 30th and 31st. 14 opera singers will participate in the festival this year, and the final preparations are being made at the Theater of Opera and Ballet. For 2 days, Tirana will be transformed into the capital of classical music, hosting opera singers from all over the world. The 14 competitors will be judged by a prestigious international jury. The Maria Kraja Festival is an important launchpad for any opera singers who want to be noted in the world music scene. That concludes our news for this evening, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for joining us. Please be with us again tomorrow at the same time. Thanks. Have a great evening.